morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, YouTube viewers. Good morning, Facebook Nation. Good morning to all people, all colors, all races, all languages around the world. Good morning to everyone. And for whatever goals that you have set forth for yourself on this day, may those goals come to fruition as long as it encompasses the best for all of humanity. And with that, let's get straight into our topic for today. Let me say first of all that I'm glad to be back, and my videos won't be every day, but my videos are information that can be used in all of our lives. And so this is the reason why this channel isn't about putting out a million videos and talking about the same things over and over. That's why I direct you to go back into the playlist. So I speak now more so about the things that exist outside of us, and it ties in with today's topic. It ties into the flow and the direction in which this information is taking us, and it's to get us to open up our minds and to see things that are right in front of us, but we refuse to see it. And so today's topic is: you cannot change what does not exist. And we can't change what exists. Say if you're riding your bicycle and your bicycle goes flat, you get a flat tire, you can't go any further until you change what exists. What exists is the flat tire, and you know that without fixing it, you can't go forward. Now I'm going to put this into something that you can do, and this tells you that there is something that's outside of us, playing these little games with us. And once you open up your mind to see it, you're like, wow, this is true, and we start to look at things in a different way. So I want to go really quick to a scenario where, say you work in an office, and every day you go into that office, you got different employees, and each morning it would be, these employees that come to you, and for whatever, if you're in a good mood, for whatever reason, they seem to say the right thing to screw your day up. So, you brush it off, and you're like, well, I just work with a group of people who, just a bunch of a-holes. But, as time goes on, you start to realize that, wait a minute, this is all together. They're doing this thing in sync. They're corresponding with one another, and they're doing this intentionally. Now you see things in a different light, and you say to yourself, well, I need to go, find another place of employment, because, this is what these people are trying to do. They're trying to doom me and force me out. So, this is where you catch on to reality. In the beginning, it was something that you felt that didn't exist, and it was just, individual people. Then later on, you saw the big picture, and you saw that, hey, this is planned. This is organized. So, we know that these things take place in our lives. So what I want to leave you with is this experiment, and you can use it in your everyday life, is, we say that, if we speak out loud, our phones hear us, and then the next thing you know, we're getting all these, ads for vacations, or all these ads for, sportswear, or whatever it is that you're thinking about, or whatever you have said out loud. We think that the phone hears us, and then the phone automatically, which it does, automatically sends these algorithms to us. But have you ever tried that with saying, this is something that I don't want to do? Like, say it's something like, I'm not going to go to a company party, or I'm not going to go to a family picnic, or I'm not going to smoke cigarettes this week. It has to be something that you want to change, or something that you don't want to do anymore. And you set it in your head, not out loud to anyone. You set it in your head that this is what you want to stop. Take 1 week, and in that 1 week, stay conscious of that one thing that you said, and watch it come into fruition. And again, the same principle applies with, let's say, if it works with this, why can't we just all hit the lottery? And the lottery is another thing. For people who play the lottery, and who haven't played the lottery, they don't play in a long time, and then all of a sudden they play, and then bam, they hit. That's one of the things, one of the ways this program works as well. And another way that it works is that for people who gamble, it always seems that when you have money, you win money, whether it's scratch tickets or whether it's at a casino. If you're just going there just to blow money and say, hey, I got this extra money, got this extra $1,000, I'm going to go to the casino. 9 out of 10 times, those people come back and they're like, hey, you know what? I won, 5 grand, I won 70 grand, I won 60 grand. And the reason is they don't need the money. You want to take it on a microscopic scale, look at your lottery drawings. Name people who are your average day people. You have more people who win these big pools of money, who have money, than people who need money. So it tells you how the system works, and the system is sadistic. So again, you cannot change what you believe to not exist. So let's look at this again and how it applies in our lives. And the reason that I'm saying that you can't change what you don't understand to exist is the reason that we face so much chaos in our lives is due to our inability to look beyond the veil. And what I say is you have a lot of people who don't believe in religion. You have a lot of people who don't believe in science. You have all these different people who don't believe. But one thing is, one question can apply to whatever someone or anyone believes. We have to say to ourselves, what entity or God or all-knowing being so powerful that created not just us, but created all these different universes, all these different stars, everything that we see, the animals and everything else, all these things came into creation. Why would someone who did something like that need to be worshipped? Why would someone who did something like that need to have sacrifices made to them? It's almost like a performer. Let's say a performer, a singer, who goes out on stage and they don't need any music and their voice is just fluid. And they sing into this crowd and, they're like, wow, this person has the most beautiful voice. From this voice, people clap, they cheer. That person who's on stage, do they need that validation from a crowd to say that, hey, my voice is the greatest voice that was ever heard. So therefore, people have to applaud me, people have to sacrifice to me, people have to worship me. People who know and are confident in what they do, it's like a businessman, a multi-billionaire. They have this certain confidence, and they don't need validation. And if we look at, people like Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, or one of the richest men in the world, where at what point do you see this guy running to say, hey, I need validation? It's more or less the system pulling him in to say, we want to use you in whatever kind of way that we can. But him as a person, he doesn't need validation. So these are smaller scales to look at a grand scale. And, all we have to do is look out and look at nature, look at, the forest, look at the trees, look at the water, feel the rain, play in the snow, watch the animals, look at the night sky. And we don't have to bow down. We don't have to sacrifice to something. We definitely don't have to kill for something or someone or some beings that created all this. We have to understand that, what we think doesn't exist actually does exist. And it doesn't matter if we believe it or not. And this is the reason why it's stopping people from, seeing their lives in full view and understanding what their true purpose is in life. Because most people's purpose has been forced upon them from birth. So, when we look at all the different deceptions that are going on in this world, we look at things in a different way. We don't look at people as people. So in another sense, this channel, is talking, about scriptures that you're reading, just not being used as applied scriptures. It's being applied principles. So the principle from this is, Father, forgive them for they know not what they do. So when, you hear, these writings and these people back in these times talking about, they don't know what they do, the reason is because most people don't want to accept that this evil exists upon this earth. And I want to leave you with, with all the, chaos that's going on in the world. There are countries, and I have to hand it to, some of these smaller countries like France and, Africa, which is a bigger country, and, some of these smaller European countries as well, where they're starting to promote cultural music, meaning music for world people. Something that we used to do here in the United States. We used to do like We Are the World and things like this, but these people are doing it within their own countries, where these songs that they have come up, where they've gathered all these different people from all different countries. These songs have gone #1, but they don't go #1 here in the mainstream. And the reason is that anything that brings positivity, it doesn't bring fear, chaos, or, hate, they don't promote it and they don't play it. Again, so we have to understand that there's something out here that exists, and this is not human. And that, as long as we sit back and we think that, we can handle and we can fight our problems within this parameter in which, these beings have set up for us, we can't win. The only way is to step out and say, hey, you know what, I'm I'm not following this anymore. So, be aware of your surroundings, but also, take a look at some of the things that, you as a person and we as people, we overlook, and we don't think that there's an outside influence that is, doing this to us. And this way, when you do see those things coming, you're like, you know what? I see you coming from 1,000 miles away. I'm not even going to stress that. And to go back to the beginning, where you walk into that office and you're dealing with that secretary that's giving you the hard time, you can just turn around and say straight out that you understand the whole purpose, and that you forgive that person, because you know that for the group that's involved, evil is overseeing it. And if they don't understand that they're being used as well as for what it is that they're doing, because they are prisoners and enslaved, because once they continue to do bad, they have to do bad, or those entities or entity will turn around and take away from that person's life, destroying that person's life. And we see that happening in real time, where you have stars who are no longer needed, no longer valid. People like Will Smith, people like Bill Cosby, people like Weinstein, people like Jeffrey Epstein. So, these people, I want to leave this with you. These people are all different races. So this is the reason why I say that this channel is never about race. We all are being used against one another. All colors and all races are being used against one another. And the way that I want to show this, and I want to use my race, is a black race. So the way I want to use this is, look at all these judges, look at all these politicians who are, being arrested, where nobody knew that, this judge was into child trafficking. Nobody knew that this judge was into dealing with terrorism. No one knew that these teachers, were covering up for activity that was being done by another teacher. How do these things get exposed? It's not black people saying, hey, bring down these, multi-millionaires, bring down these multi-billionaires. It's not black people that's doing this. And it's not, going after the judges, going after these politicians. It's not black people doing it. It's not white people doing it. It's not green people doing it. It's not orange people doing it. It's the ones who created us. Because what it is that the lie has to be broken. Now that the lie is broken, this is why we're seeing so much chaos. So now this is why, once the lie has been broken, now everything is in question. History, science, social interactions, political, every venue, religious, every venue is being questioned. Almost like the floodgates were opened up. But it's up to us as human beings to understand that we're in a world that, we're just only beginning to understand. And it's a sad reality, because, the damage has already been done. But it can allow us to live out the rest of our lives, and to, pass on to our children, a better way of looking at things, and a better way to succeed in the world, and less of an interaction with taking on the stress from other people's. That was a phone call, but we're doing good. So again, I just wanted to leave you, with this on a Sunday, and especially with, the people who are in high places that are coming down, that we have to realize that, at the end of the day, these people in these organizations, they don't have to go out and make that arrest. The FBI doesn't have to say, well, hey, this judge is corrupt, let's go arrest him. Like, no, don't. They've done things like that in the past, where they're like, nope, let that person go. They're more valuable to us out here in the world. So, something is making them do this. So this is where we have to say to ourselves that there has to exist something outside of ourselves. But once we see and we acknowledge that something else outside of us exists, then our world becomes a better place, because now we know how better to navigate. So I'm glad to be back to share that. Hopefully, you can get something from it. And the one thing I want to leave too is, people who are trying to attain consciousness and they're trying to attain light, it's not going to come from talking to other people. And, one of the things that I always say, one of the things that worked for me, is I always went into those people's playlists, to find out, where how they were, looking at things, and how these things could apply to my life. But it was never to say, hey, can you talk to me about it? Can you tell me how you did this? No, those are all in videos. So, learn from what is put out there, because when we reach out to say, hey, someone teach me, then we've already lost the desire to be a teacher ourselves, because we all are teachers. All we have to do is open up our consciousness and look into ourselves in order to bring these attributes and these qualities of nature within us out. And for that, everyone, have the most beautiful day. Have an awesome day. And remember, you cannot change what you believe does not exist. And for that, everyone, men, women, children around the world have the most beautiful day. Have an awesome day. With that, everyone,